Judge, may it please the court.
Yes, sir.
This is Satch 1, Henry Hand, Your Honor. He is charged on one case with murder and conspiracy, on a separate case with criminal conspiracy, weapon charge, armed robbery, on yet another separate incident, armed robbery, and then another one, Judge, armed robbery, criminal conspiracy, as well as a weapon charge. Your Honor, I was under the impression, I think Mr. Harvin may have been too, that we were close, or we thought we had this worked out. I offered a cap of 25 years to voluntary manslaughter on the murder charge, and then a common law robbery for 10 years to run concurrent on one of the armed robberies. Thought that was a reasonable deal considering all that he has facing, but he has informed his attorney that he does not wish to accept the state's offer. The case is of an age that I feel it necessary to go ahead and revoke that offer and go ahead and set this case for trial. And I just wanted him to be aware that is what's happening. The offer is being pulled now, and we'll start trying him on each and every one of these cases.
Mr. Harvin.
May it please the court, Your Honor. I agree with everything that Solicitor White has stated. My guy's been in jail since November of 2019, and so at this point, we would like a trial. He has expressed to me his desire to go forward and reject the plea offers. Judge, originally, or at least the last time we had a bond hearing for Mr. Henry Hand, the judge thought that he would have a trial the first part of this year, which I think originally the solicitor's office thought he would be tried in March. And so the only thing that we ask is that if he is not tried in June, which I think is the plan, that he be brought back before the court for a bond hearing. And I should say tried and convicted, that he be brought back before a bond hearing, because he's been waiting for another opportunity to have a bond hearing for a little while.
All right. Is all that correct, Mr. Henry Hand? Yes, sir. So, give me the details of what he's accused of doing.
Yes, sir, Judge. As far as the armed robberies are concerned, the facts are similar. He and co-defendants are charged with robbing folks at hotel rooms. In 3 separate incidents, they had him charged on those. And then as far as the murder is concerned, Judge, that incident happened at a party in the city limits of Florence. A victim sees Mr. Henry Hand being handed a gun by the co-defendant in this case, and told to fire on the victim in this case, Mr. Kevin Backus, who Mr. Henry Hand, as well as his co-defendants, had a beef with. Later on, Judge, there is a recorded statement made by law enforcement. Henry Hand makes on the phone to a confidential informant, telling him that that's in fact what happened, that he was handed a gun by a co-defendant and fired on Mr. Backus.
And as far as the case is being ready for trial,
It's ready, Judge.
there are no outstanding discovery issues, witness issues.
Mr. Henry, there are no witness issues. Mr. Henry, Mr. Harvin and I have met, I think, on 2 or 3 separate occasions and gone over the discovery. I think Mr. Harvin has everything, and as long as Mr. Harvin is satisfied, and unless he needs something that I'm not aware of, I go out of the way to make sure he has everything he needs. I'm not aware of anything. I think we're ready.
Henry Hand is not a King Street Henry Hand, is it?
Judge, he actually is a King.
I've never seen a Henry Hand in any place other than Kingston, other than Williamsburg County. So, Mr. Henry Hand, you understand that murder carries a minimum of 30 years and a maximum of life in prison. Do you understand that armed robbery, each armed robbery carries a minimum of 10 years and a maximum of 30 years? Yes, sir. And he has 3 armed robberies?
Correct, Judge.
And conspiracy, is that a 7.5-year conspiracy or 5-year conspiracy?
Yes, sir.
And what's the other?
There are two conspiracy charges on the table, actually, excuse me, Judge, 3 conspiracies on the table, as well as possession of firearm by a convicted felon. The state did not indict those. I didn't think those were properly charged.
What felony has he been convicted of?
I don't believe he's been convicted of a felony that would make that.
Some possession of a weapon during a violent crime.
That's the more proper charge. Yes, sir.
And so you understand the nature of the charges, Mr. Henry, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the evidence that the state says that they have against you?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that the solicitor has made an offer indicating they're recommending a cap of 25 years. Do you understand that? Which means they're recommending that you get a sentence of not more than 25 years.
Yes, sir.
And you've thought about it,
Yes, sir.
and you've decided that you want a trial.
Yes, sir.
That as to each and every one of these cases,
Yes, sir.
you think you'll be able to pull off 4 victories and no defeats. You believe you'll be able to win them all.
Yes, sir.
And the solicitor indicated to me earlier he thought you were coming here for a guilty plea. Is that right?
That's what I was told, Judge.
And he indicates that if you do not wish to plead guilty today, that they are withdrawing the offer and you'll have a trial as he's indicated for each one of those charges. And it appears to me would there be maybe some be joint trials or will they all be tried together? I mean, from the state's perspective.
Judge, it's my plan to try each one separate, and then if fortunate enough to get a conviction, I'll then move for LWOP notice.
So you understand that if you are convicted, for example, if you're charged with 3 armed robberies, they happen the same day or
No, separate incidents.
or separate incidents. If you are found guilty of 1 armed robbery and the state then gives you a notice, you're seeking a life without the possibility of parole, then on the second armed robbery, if you are convicted, or the murder if you are convicted of violent manslaughter,
Yes, sir.
then you'll be sentenced to, and it's mandatory life without parole. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So you weigh all these things, or I mean, you're represented by a very competent counsel, Mr. Hartman, and you discussed these issues with him,
Yes, sir.
and you made up your mind.
Yes, sir.
You want to try,
Yes, sir.
okay? That's about not as clear as it can be to me as far as explaining it to Mr. Henry Hand. I don't know how clear it is inside Mr. Henry Hand's brain. But certainly it's your right to a jury trial. And if you had a jury trial, you'd be presumed to be not guilty. And the state must prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And if they can't do that, then the jury would have to find you not guilty. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right. Anything further?
No, sir, Judge. Thank you very much.
Stand your hand.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman.
This is Christian News TY. I'm Tony Conyers. Is there any newsworthy events? We will get them to you as soon as possible. If not, you can follow us on Christian News TY Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube, and you can follow us on our website.